In this video, I'm gonna break down the number one thing that you need to get right if you're gonna invest in real estate. 3, 2, 1, boom! Positive cash flow. The number one thing that you can do for yourself when you're starting out investing in real estate to make sure you do this the right way. What is positive cash flow? For the rookies out there, it's revenue minus expenses is greater than zero, right? What is your revenue? In the world of rental real estate, this is going to be your rent. What's your expenses? This is your mortgage, your property taxes, a little, maybe $100 to $200 for maintenance a month, any HOA you might have, right? Anything that takes money out of your bank account on this property, you want to lump in here. So this math, you want to be greater than zero, right? And how do you figure out the rent? You look at Zillow, you look at your rental properties in that area that have similar beds to baths as you, similar communities, and that's how you piece this together. So if you do the math, you can understand what you're willing to pay on for a particular property, because to make this make sense. And what's the biggest piece? Is your mortgage, right? Your mortgage is impacted by how much you spend on that house. So never, in today's competitive real estate market, as long as your mortgage is below what that rent overall would be, you're fine. You're in good shape. Don't be intimidated and say, oh, the market real estate's too hot, I can't get involved. If it makes sense, if the cash flow is there, it is a great deal because it's going to be a great property. Whether you're living in there and jumping out and then renting it out, it's going to be phenomenal for you long term, because if you make sure this happens, you'll always have paid a good price for the house. And what's the benefits on top of that? Because if you focus on cash flow and got that right, everything else is gravy, because you get the tax benefits. You also get the appreciation of the property, right? You get the appreciation, meaning the value of that asset's going up because it's obviously in a good area, right? You can cover your rent from your expenses. People are going to want that house. The value's going to go up. And real estate will always be a big business because people will always need a roof over their head. Even if they're in the metaverse playing in their virtual reality, they're going to want their own hard roof over their head. So that is number one. So to get started in real estate, if you're nervous, this is all you need to worry about, and get this right. Understand what your mortgage would be for that property, right? By looking at an online calculator, very simple. Add up all these potential expenses, know what your rent is, and nail that down, and you will be set up for success for the rest of your time owning that property. So important, get that right. Next, I want to share a couple things and other tips to make sure that you're investing and going about it strategically. Number one is maximizing home appreciation, right? Getting this to be as high as possible is going to help you grow wealth over time, right? That value of that asset you own is going to go up, and the amount you owe on it is going to go down, and the tenant's paying that off. So how do you make sure you're in an area that's appreciating? Number one is that there's jobs and there's job growth. So if there's companies moving into your area, a new headquarters, a new announcement, those are great signs that you're well positioned for the long term. If there's an Amazon warehouse or a Walmart that was just put in your area, or any kind of new shopping centers, right? People who know real estate invest in those areas, in those commercial side of the business. And those are going to drive your real estate value up tremendously. So always look for that, right? If your population is going down and companies are moving out, you're going to want to look to invest elsewhere, because the real way to make tons of money in real estate is not just the cash flow, but the appreciation is huge, and that compounds over time. So make sure jobs and populations is going in the right direction. Another really important tip is how many beds and baths you pick. Ideally, you want to shoot for 3-bed, 2-bath, because that has the broadest market and the most in-demand style of real estate in America, because it's suitable for, families. They can raise kids in 3-bed, 2-baths. So that's what you want to focus on, because you'll have the largest base of renters available to rent to. So super important. The last one is location, right? So schools and neighborhood, right? You want to understand, how are the schools rated? Now, Zillow makes it very easy, But if you're between two properties, pick the one with the better school district and the neighborhood that you would want to raise your family in, right? Don't invest because you think you're getting a good deal, but it's the nicest house in kind of a shady community. Don't bother, because you're going to want to find that's not going to appreciate as much over time, and your rental base is going to be smaller. So find the good schools, find the good school districts. And okay, you're worried about paying a premium in those areas, but again, as long as you got positive cash flow and you've done the math to make sure your mortgage and all these expenses would be below what your rent is, you're in great shape. And the last thing I want to leave you with is really focusing on living below your means when it comes to real estate. It can become very exciting to look at properties, and when you're investing and starting to grow your wealth, to like see a house and then have it as an extra bedroom, bathroom, it's turnkey. You really want to avoid that as long as you can in your wealth building years of your life, because this is your time to stash away money in more rental properties, in the stock market, in a business venture, a side hustle, anything to really move the needle in your finances in your future. So really consider this and try to find something you could fix up a little bit as you live there. It might have some cabinets that need to be painted, or the door handles could be replaced because they're from the 60s, or things that you can do easily, or put the flooring down that's a little bit nicer. That's going to help you get a cheap mortgage and then put some money into it and then rent it out for even more money, and keep the cost of living as low as possible, because that's dead money paying off your house. You want the renters to do that for you. You don't want to be spending a bunch of your hard-earned money into your house every month. So just a few things I wanted to leave you with, but make sure, if you forgot all that, number one is cash flow. Get positive cash flow in any real estate investment you make, and you will set yourself up for massive success and wealth building over the long term. Nothing about real estate is get rich quick, so really use it as a tool and just let it work for you over 10, 20, 30 years. And you'll be very pleased and be able to hand properties to the next generation, to your kids, and really sustain wealth for yourself and your family long term. Hopefully you liked this video. If you did, if you got to this part, appreciate you doing a thumbs up for the video, just clicking that, and feel free to subscribe if you're interested in this kind of content, because I'll definitely be sharing more things as we move forward here. So thanks for listening to Live to Learn USA. Take care.